So what questions did she ask me to ask myself?
Yes. Yeah.
What do I do now? Where do
Okay.
I
So
go now?
what and where?
How am I going to do that? Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All those big open-ended questions. And what was amazing is I also learned that you don't have to answer those questions immediately.
Mm.
It's the big judgment that we put on ourselves when we ask those fantastic, beautiful, open-ended questions. We expect an answer of ourselves immediately. It's not possible. It's too big, the questions.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to think
Mm-hmm.
about it carefully, and you have to think, what do I want? Where do I want to go? And how am I going to get there? Who's coming with me? Because we don't want to do any of this business by ourselves.
Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified when the next video comes out. It only takes 2 seconds to make 2 clicks. So let's do it. Let's get back to the video. Hello, 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 Fearless Freedom Tribe. This is Dr. G, and we are back for another exciting episode of the Fearless Freedom with Dr. G podcast. And today, we have none other than James Vanderwalt, and he's going to tell you who he is, what he's up to, and all of the amazing projects that he has currently got his hands in. So take it away, James.
Hello. Thank you so much, Romain, for having me. It's wonderful to be here. Who am I? Where am I from? What am I doing? I am a health and life coach who used to be an ICU nurse for a couple of decades in the UK. And then I had the amazing privilege and opportunity to move to the US. I now live in California. And with the pandemic and everything that happened, moving to another country, I decided to really dig into my coaching and just do that full time. So gave up nursing. And yeah, here I am coaching people. At the moment, my big focus is on transition coaching, helping people through either business transitions, life transitions, or health transitions. So business transition, for example, is got a brilliant new idea. You have to transition from one side of the business to the other side. I can help you with that. Or life transitions. Hey, there's loads of those. Life itself is a transition.
Yes,
So
indeed. So
happy to
true.
help people with that. And then health transitions, the main thing that I focus on there is people with newly diagnosed chronic illnesses and what
Ah,
they need to transition into this new amazing world where they have to deal with either a new diagnosis, what the future holds, what has been taken away, what's new, because new diagnosis does bring new stuff, and there is positive
yes.
things in there.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so I help people through that, and I do that full time.
Awesome. So now you have to tell us how you went from being in ICU and serving in ICU to deciding to coach. Like what happened?
Yeah, I big part of being a medical professional is coaching. There's a lot of coaching involved, helping people through whatever they're going through. And I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis in my heart and in my lungs. That was out of the blue, was diagnosed when I got pneumonia. I was in ICU as a patient. And they went, sorry, but this is now your new life. You have cardiac sarcoidosis and cardiac lung sarcoidosis. Sorry, it was the same thing. But there you go. You get the drift. And I had to decide what to do. Couldn't nurse as much or couldn't nurse in ICU as much as I wanted to. Moved to California, and I was part of a support group online support group for people with sarcoidosis. You know, everybody with an autoimmune disease, anybody with a chronic illness, everybody went into lockdown. But we kind of went into double lockdown. It was a huge fear for all of us. And so, yeah, we all gathered, got online and supported each other, chatted through all of it, and just made sure everybody was okay. And there was one day when one of my fellow support group people looked at me and said, "Are you a coach? You live in California. They do lots of that stuff there." I went, "No, I'm not." He went, "You need to think about it because that's amazing." I did. So I started looking into it, realized that a vast, massive part of my nursing life was coaching people and helping them, supporting them. And I found a fantastic organization that brought health coaching and life coaching into one and helped me understand that if your life is in shambles, your health is in shambles. If your health is in issues, then your life is in issues. And they brought the two together for me. And it made me realize that the 20 odd years that I did what I did, I can still use it just from a different perspective.
Wow. And so you were, so tell us, that's an incredible story. You have to tell us how and what you were feeling when you thought you had pneumonia and they said to you, "Oh no, it's not pneumonia. It's actually sarcoid affecting lung and heart." What were what were your thoughts? Like what kind of fear did you face there? Now, what was that like for you?
First thought that went through my head was, I'm going to die. Healthcare professionals work very, very hard to save other people's lives. We don't have time to save our own lives. And that's immediately what went through my head. I'm like, I'm not supposed to be on this side of the bed. I'm supposed to be on that side of the bed where I'm supposed to help, serve, bring dignity, be a person who coach for other people, be their mouthpiece when they can't speak for themselves. Now I'm lying here and I'm kind of going, who's speaking for me? Who's advocating for me? And so those were the first thoughts that went through my head. That was so fear, being faced with my own mortality, the fact that I'm, won't be able to breathe as well as I used to, having to look after my heart, won't be able to have as much stress. These were things that came later, in days later. And yeah, there was a bit of mourning for the life I used to have. But then once I got through all of that, with counseling and coaching, I got to a place where I'm now, where I can look back at all of that and go, self-care is so important. Mental health care is so important. Physical health care is so important. And finding my new purpose, finding my new direction, using every bit of my experiences I've had through lying in a bed and having a medical student and a nursing student next to me asking me, "So they're doing this to you right now. How is that?" And I was like, and it was very, very interesting that there was a teaching hospital. So they were, my permission was still was asked if I'm allowed to have students here. And I said, of course, yes, great opportunity, let them hear from the horse's mouth. And yeah, that was really helpful because I was able to talk through what was happening to me. And then because I said it out loud, I heard what I was saying. And suddenly things started making sense and opening up for me. And yeah, I would say it took probably a good couple of years for me to get to a point where my chronic illness was not stopping me from doing what I needed to do. I was actually encouraging me to do what I needed to do. Okay. And I think your audience who's all into being fearless,
yes,
that is the place to be. That's where you get to that point where you know who you are, who's your authentic self. And when you get to that authentic self, the fear's gone. And you know exactly what you need to do.
Yeah, it's like dormant. It's not God.
Yes.
But you don't let it stop
exactly.
you. No, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious because you said some things that I thought were quite interesting. The first thing that you said that intrigued me was you said there was a timeline. Like you said there was about a couple of years. And so
Mm.
how did you even get started on that? Were you connected to counselors and coaches immediately as the diagnosis was made? How did that how did that happen?
Mm. I love the fact that you used that word transition, because that's literally what happened. You know, there's the diagnosis, there's coming to terms with, oh, what's happening to me. Immediate people around me was family, which was incredible and amazing and wonderful. I have the most beautiful family who instantly surrounded me. I still get a lump in my throat when I think about it. It was in a foreign country, so I then had to find my way back home to the UK. And
Oh, so wait,
yeah,
you weren't in the UK when you got
no, I
diagnosed?
wasn't in the UK when I got pneumonia. That's the whole thing. I was on holiday. Um,
Okay, I missed that
so,
point. Okay,
yeah,
that's very
sorry.
significant. Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And then found my way back to the UK after a couple of months, and it was wonderful to get home. But that's when the penny dropped, because then there was no family, immediate family, because
Oh, you mean when you got the
everybody lived
diagnosis?
everywhere.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
and
Okay.
it was, then you have to start working with the medical system,
Mm-hmm.
finding the correct doctor. You had these amazing doctors where I was first diagnosed, saved my life, looked after me. And now I'm back home. I have to find those new doctors, new specialist nurses. And that took months to find the
Okay.
correct people, get the referrals, and, find the correct ones yeah, I didn't even know, for example, that I needed a rheumatologist. I thought I need a cardiologist and a respiratory specialist. Ended up going, no, you need a rheumatologist. I'm like, great, let's find one. But yeah, that took time. So that took a good
Okay.
year to get to a point where I was surrounded by the correct medical professionals,
Okay.
and started on the correct medication. And that's when the emotions came out.
Mm.
That's when the mental health started. And that's when the whole point, okay, now you've got the anatomy sorted, the physiology sorted, but now we need to do the other work. And it was very good. I had a couple of friends who made suggestions of counselors. But yeah, Google was great. Google was
Oh,
very
okay.
good. I found a fantastic psychologist, and she looked after me for a whole year, and walked me through the whole transition of being fit, healthy, 0 days off sick for more than 20 years, and suddenly I'm having to take months and months off work. I have to navigate the medical system, see doctors
Yes.
every week, etc.
Yeah.
And that was very beautiful because she was so kind and respectful about it. And she helped me see that taking ownership and taking responsibility for my physical health and my mental health was the way that I was going to get through it. Not going into denial, not going into a place of, I can't do this, I'm not supposed to do this. And the big thing that she taught me was, don't ask why. Nothing comes from asking why. Why me? Why did this happen? Because asking the question why brings up your defenses. It
Mm-hmm.
immediately makes you want to go, well, and it takes you into a dark place of self-pity. So what questions did she ask me to ask myself?
Yes. Yeah.
What do I do now? Where do
Okay.
I
So
go now?
what and where?
How am I going to do that? Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All those big open-ended questions. And what was amazing is I also learned that you don't have to answer those questions immediately.
Mm.
It's the big judgment that we put on ourselves when we ask those fantastic, beautiful, open-ended questions. We expect an answer of ourselves immediately. It's not possible. It's too big, the questions.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to think
Mm-hmm.
about it carefully, and you have to think, what do I want? Where do I want to go? And how am I going to get there? Who's coming with me? Because we don't want to do any of this business by ourselves.
Exactly.
You
No, you
use a
don't want to.
fantastic word.
That's yeah.
You use a fantastic word on your website called tribe.
Oh
The
yes.
Fearless Freedom Tribe.
Mhm.
It's so important to find your tribe. Get those people around you, because we shouldn't be walking this journey all by ourselves. And yeah, so that's where and that's how I got through it, definitely by not asking myself why.
Now, see, that's very amazing, because I think that that is the first question that most people will come to when something catastrophic has occurred, right? That is the
Yeah.
first thing, did I do something wrong? Why is this happening to me? You know what I mean? Like that whole thing. So that I love that. I love that, Pearl, where she focuses it then instead on the, how, where, and what instead of why.
Yeah.
So that's
exactly.
awesome.
And
That's
that's
awesome.
what got me to coaching, because I had my first call with my mentor and my coach that trained me, and it was all about who, what, where, when. None of this why. So
Right.
we instantly connected, and that was the second year, and yeah, here I am today.
Hey, it's Dr. G, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank you for listening to this episode. I'm so honored to have you here with me. Did you know that I can help you to get your own podcast started? With my podcasting launch course for professionals, I walk you through everything you need to know about starting a podcast. I'm with you every step of the way, from sign up to launching your show, with 5 episodes ready to go. There's a done for you version that's also available. If you would just rather just do recordings and leave the behind the scenes work up to us, then that one is definitely for you. But either way, we've got your back here at Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Oh, if you already have a show and you need production services, we have monthly plans available for you. So check out the links in the episode show notes for more information. Let's get back to the show. And so you had a huge fear to overcome. You're on vacation, you're enjoying yourself, you think you just have the sniffles, you get checked out, you get this ridiculously incredible diagnosis that completely changes the trajectory of your life. And you're not near the family. You are getting good care though, where you are. And then you have to make the transition back home, get yourself established with the healthcare system at home, get surrounded by your tribe, your family, your friends. And then somewhere along the line, you have to now face another transition because you moved to a completely different country.
Yeah, recovered and then decided to move to California, and had to rebuild a new tribe, which was definitely a great thing for me. I really enjoyed it. It was a fantastic opportunity. It's so wonderful to live here. And yeah, I think one of the things that happened to me was my head just clicked and went, life is short. I need to live. I need to do as much as I can. And yeah, so that's what I did.
Okay. All right. I mean, I like hearing that, because I mean, I'm a person who like picked up and moved really twice to really big moves, like one move was orchestrated by my mom, the transition from Jamaica to the United States. And then the other move basically was a decision that we just made. We just said, okay, we just want to live in another country now. And we just like moved. So, it's just, I'm always interested to hear, what is the impetus for people who make a transition like that. And it sounds like for you were in that space where you're now, it's like YOLO, like you only live once. You want to make sure that you live life to the fullest, and you feel like the next adventure should be in California. That's what it kind of sounds like from our conversation.
Yeah.
Which is neat,
absolutely.
because a lot of people, they won't have the courage to do that as adults, right? Because, you figure, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 47. I mean, at 47, well, at the time we made this last move I was 46. And so like, like at 46, you're like, you've already established certain things. You're you're well rooted, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera. And then to completely sever everything and transpose yourself to a different place, potentially different culture, that requires a lot of courage. So,
Yeah.
I'm curious, what was the signal that you got that said this was it? Like, this is a place that I should go to next.
So California was not on my list of places
Oh,
to
okay.
move to. That and my partner got a job in California, so that was what determined the destination.
I see.
But
Okay.
in the build up to the destination and the actual choice of packing up and moving, that was definitely on the cards because life is short, as you said. And it was that whole thing of I needed to do something brave, something brand new. I was faced with the possibility that I couldn't do ICU nursing anymore. Will my heart keep up? Do 17-hour between, you do on calls, you do all these long shifts. And then you get exposed to
Yes.
many different diseases all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the things that did happen, I'm so sorry.
No worries.
One of the things that did happen, with COVID was everybody, all the nurses and doctors who had autoimmune diseases, for example, had to go and, had to stop working.
Yes.
And yeah, and that's where I was. So it was in a way, it was a very easy decision to move.
Okay.
Because one, the bravery and the courage was there because I got the chronic illness and I was like, yeah, let's move. Let's do as much as we can with life. And on the other hand, the destination was determined. And then the third thing was, well, I can't nurse with this illness anymore. And there are many doctors and nurses with sarcoidosis out there. So if any of you are listening and you're working, I know, and I'm really happy for you. It's just when I was newly diagnosed, I couldn't work. So, to all my colleagues out there who's working with chronic illnesses, keep going. You're amazing. But yeah, I took the opportunity to reroute, become a life coach.
No, that's great. It's great. And it sounds like you're loving California, which is also good.
Yes.
Yes, good.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah. They don't have tea time in California, though.
No.
There's no tea time.
That's very true. No.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right. That is awesome. So now you got to tell us, or tell the tribe, how they can reach out to you if they're interested and they feel like they're vibing with your conversation here and they want to work with you.
Thank you. Yeah. They can go to my website, www.vanderwaltcoaching.com. I'm also on Instagram, Vanderwalt Coaching, where they can find me. My programs are on there. I've got 3 programs that I can help people with. So there's a 3-month program, a 6-month program, and a 1-year program. I told you in the beginning the 3 different types of coaching that I do. And very passionate about the health transition coaching too, seeing as I was there.
Yeah, you lived it.
And yeah, that's where they can find me. If they
do you mind spelling Vanderwalt just in case? Let's make sure we don't have anybody Googling the wrong thing. Okay.
So www.vanderwalt.
Awesome.
Coaching.
Awesome.
COACH. Yeah. .com.
Yes. Yeah. I always like to have it spelled out because I'm telling you, you're listening to the thing, or even if you're watching the thing, you still like miss a letter and you're like, why can't I find it? And you get all frustrated. So let's just avoid all that by spelling it out. So
absolutely.
That's perfect.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's perfect. So what
that's also my blog site, so you can go and read my blogs there.
Oh, perfect. And do you on your blog, do you happen to talk about your experience with sarcoid?
I touch on it.
Okay.
At the moment, what I'm doing with the blog is I'm working a lot with ownership and responsibility at the moment. Okay. And one of the big things that I had to do was take ownership and take responsibility for all my belief systems, but also the gifts that my parents gave me. But the biggest one was my voice. So there's a lot of work that I'm doing at the moment, blogging about my voice, and that takes a whole different, direction. Speaking your truth, speaking your fearlessness, speaking, being your honest with yourself, your family, your friends, etc.
Yes.
But yeah, the sarcoidosis in there. The chronic illness is in there.
Okay. All right.
But
No,
yeah,
that
I
sounds
haven't
great.
actually. That's a good idea, actually. I should actually write a proper thing on my chronic illness. That'd be very interesting. I think
I
it's
think
become
that would
something that's
resonate with a lot of people who are
yeah,
searching. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
because you know how it is. Like, the more like specific the connection, like the stronger it is. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly, but like, if I've gone through a particular situation, a trial, and I know that the person that I'm speaking to or relating to has actually gone through it or has been in close relation to someone who's gone through it, I'm more willing to identify with that person than someone who's just kind of like been on the periphery,
yeah, absolutely.
So
I
think it's
being
really
in the
cool to talk
trenches.
about it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So no, that's good. That's good. And then so you said you have a program, you have one-on-one also, sounds like.
Yes, yeah, I do one-on-one coaching. That's mostly what I do.
Okay, awesome.
And that's either via Zoom or telephone or whatever's convenient for people. I've had clients in the UK and Europe and South Africa and all over America. So it's
yeah, I was gonna say
we don't
that
have to
allows
drive
for you to be
anywhere anymore.
international, essentially, having it that way.
Absolutely.
Having it in a virtual motif.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us, like what's the future looking like? Like what's the end of this year and next year looking like for you as far as facing fear and all the things?
Well, firstly, going to write that blog on sarcoid, as you told me.
That's
definitely
look at that.
Now on the list.
So this was a productive podcast.
And yeah, so the plan is for next year is to really launch my talks and go to some live events and do some talking and tell more people about the fact that when you get diagnosed with something, it's not the end. Whatever life throws at you, there are ways and means of getting around it, getting through it, getting over it, getting under it, and living through it.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's the big thing for next year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we've had a very fantastic conversation. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And we were at that point in the show where we do our tradition. What's that?
I said that was great. I really enjoyed our talk too. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, it's good. And I got some things out of you, which I love. I like to dig.
Yeah. Good.
But we're at the tradition part of the show. And that is the fill in the blanks. Are you ready?
Yeah, I am ready.
Okay.
I am ready.
Okay, awesome. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
If I am fearless, I will
be free from people's judgment. I'll be authentic. I'll be free to question everything around me, free to truly work on finding the answers to these questions and act on it.
Awesome. All right.
I love that question. It's amazing.
No, I love your answer. I love how you broke it down
Thank
too. The next one is, to me, fearless freedom means.
Love that one too. To me, fearless freedom means to engage with my fear and stop making it all about me. Fears disappear when you stop focusing inwards, and freedom appears when you start looking outwards, beyond the boundaries of life, and become your true, authentic self.
Wow, I like that. Looking outwards. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great pearl.
Fear just becomes so little when you start looking outwards, because you see everybody else's fears. Their fears get less or smaller than yours or bigger than yours. And you kind of just go, wow, I'm not alone.
Right.
1, 2, there's always somebody with a worse fear than me. 3, who can I serve?
Exactly right. No, so much truth there. Awesome. And then the last one is, my battle cry is.
One of my favorites. I told a load of people about this. Thank you very much for that. My battle cry is, truly know your responsibility in owning your belief systems.
Yeah. That's fair. A lot of us don't. So no, that's awesome. That is awesome. Thank you so much for taking time out and spending it with us, and for sharing your story, sharing, such amazing pearls with the audience. I mean, I think that the tribe has gotten quite a lot from this conversation. And I know that if your voice is resonating with them, they will for sure be reaching out to you. Do you mind us saying one more time where they can do that?
Yeah, they can find me on www.vanderwaltcoaching.com or Vanderwalt Coaching on Instagram.
Awesome.
It was lovely to speak to you, Charmaine. Thank you so much.
Same here. Same here. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Again, I'm Dr. G. And if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe so that you can get notified of when the next episode is going to be. And also, I'll catch you next time. Have a great one. Be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.